Good morning. Ay, ay, ay. Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. All right. Everything decided to go sideways on me technology-wise this morning, but I'm up. I'm here. I'm ready to go. How we doing on this Friday? Oh, man. Looking at my calendar, I don't have anything going this weekend. And I'm feeling the itch to start a new project instead of finishing an old one. I do have to do a project before the end of the month with Bolt. So maybe this is the weekend I'm going to do my Bolt project, I think. How about you guys? Have you been playing with Bolt? Have you been playing with any of the AI coding applications? I looked at Bolt when it came out, but it did not have a desktop app. And there are some things I feel comfortable. There are a lot of apps I feel comfortable using in the browser. I don't care for the IDE in the browser. I don't like it. But there is a hackathon going on next month that I and one friend and some other people who will be my friends once I meet them are gonna do next month, and it's sponsored by Bolt. So I gotta figure out what this Bolt stuff is all about, what it's capable of. I gotta put through its paces. So I'm gonna be brainstorming this morning about some sort of app I could code/vibe code using Bolt. See how that goes. Maybe I'll have some show and tell on Monday. Welcome. It is Friday, May 16th, 2025 at 9:03 a.m. Central Standard Time. I am broadcasting live from Austin, Texas. My name is Keith, and I have been a professional developer for over 30 years. I stream on YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn Monday through Friday. Every weekday morning. Having said that, I'm not sure because of this technical snafu if I happen to be streaming on all the streaming platforms this morning. I gotta figure that out today too. Hey, how is it going? How's your week been? What's going on for the weekend? Feel free to jump in the chat, ask a question, connect with me on LinkedIn. But I created this stream as a place to kind of have an appointment to hang out with every weekday morning when you're getting out those job applications. And so if you are in the search for a job, or you know somebody who's in the search for a job, feel free to send them the link. All right. We do two things on the stream. We look at job posting numbers to see kind of what the trends are in the tech world in terms of hiring. And we look at the news that may or may not affect the tech sector and hiring more broadly. So let's just jump into it. First things first. Is it this one? No, it's not that one. Is it this one? Yes, it's that one. Okay. What we're looking at here is the last 7 days of job postings. It's been a while since I talked about how I collect this data, so I will say that I get the numbers represented in these graphs every morning by checking Indeed.com and just doing some manual searching. I have in the past, in the distant past, set up automation to do the scraping for me, but Indeed's smarter than I am, and they've thwarted my attempts at every turn to consistently scrape their data. And so now I just manually check every morning when I get up. I do some searching, and since that is a manual process and it is laborious to a point, I've optimized it as much as I can, but it still takes a little bit of time. I've limited my searches to focus on web development and JavaScript developers because they are an indication of where the tech space is. If web developers are doing well, that means generally speaking, tech industry is doing well. If they're not, uh, that is indicative also. So what we're looking at here is entry-level JavaScript developer roles because my day job managing a coding school, that was kind of our audience until last year. But what this tells us when we look at this 7-day graph is that the numbers have been flat. They have been flat. If we zoom out a little bit, we can see that flat is on the low end of where these numbers have been in the last 6 months. And in the aggregate in the last 6 months, there is a downward trend. It seems to have kind of leveled off. Not at a great place, but it's leveled off. And we're going to hope to keep that trend at least there until we can start to turn this thing around. If we look back at the last year, you can see overall in the last year, it's been flat. Been some ups, been some downs. We're not as low as we have been in the last year, but we are nowhere near the highs either. And if you look back 1 year ago today, there are probably about 30% more job postings than there are today. So not great numbers. I have, since the beginning of the year, started looking at those numbers from more holistic approach. So I'm looking at all the JavaScript jobs being posted and the remote JavaScript jobs being posted. We can see that, again, this has roughly been flat. We had this dip here that was when the tariffs really went into effect. And then we've been climbing out of that as they've been rolling back the tariffs. If we look at that number broken down by experience level for in-house roles, we can see that the blue line here is entry level, the red line is mid-level, and the yellow line is senior level. We see a lot more ups and downs and volatility in the mid-level roles, but essentially it's kind of been flat since mid-January. If we look at the remote roles, we can see that entry level and senior level have been pretty consistent throughout the year so far, but there is a trend line down for mid-level remote roles. Just the way things are playing out. Okay, let's jump into the news. Let's look at the news. I pull the news for the stream off of LinkedIn because they've got a good little news feed that's quickly, regularly updated. This was updated 7 minutes ago. Coinbase confirmed that it's under investigation by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission over whether it misstated its user numbers. In a statement, the cryptocurrency giant promised it's committed to working with the SEC to bring this matter to a close. Coinbase is set to join the S&P 500 on May 19th. The company also revealed it's been the victim of a significant attack, with hackers bribing rogue overseas support agents to steal customer data. The criminals demanded a $20 million ransom, which Coinbase refused to pay. I have a Coinbase account. Not super active, and I don't have a ton of money in it, but but the things I think about when I read this is that my initial thought was like, wait a minute, I thought the crypto folks were going to get a pass on all the regulation and scrutiny when with the new administration. But since they're trying to join the SEC, not the SEC, since they're trying to join the S&P 500, that certainly would bring renewed scrutiny. Interesting. Coinbase stock drops after the cyber attack news. Yeah, I mean, they're on the raggedy edge of technology, and they're playing in a space where there is a lot of shady characters. And generally speaking, they've been seen as kind of the people who are trying to do it right. But when so much money's involved, the pull to the dark side is strong for sure. Meta pushes back debut of AI model. Meta is delaying the release of its most powerful AI model after internal concerns its capabilities didn't match its public claims, the journal reports. Touted as an open AI challenger, the advanced Llama model's release has been pushed back to fall or later. That's a big push these days with models being released every couple of months. Meta is reportedly weighing management changes as a result. Some consider the move a sign that AI advancements will continue to progress, but may come at a slower pace with a tremendous cost. A lot of talk about that in the last year, about how we're starting to plateau on the returns and that we need a big technical breakthrough to kind of make another leap. Everything's going to be incremental at this point. But that's interesting. I have not really messed around with Meta's model very much. I installed Ollama, played with that for a little bit, but don't do anything with it significantly or regularly. Charter and Cox agree to merge. Two of the nation's top cable companies have agreed to merge in what could be one of the year's biggest deals. Charter Communications, which operates the Spectrum brand, and Cox Communication will unite under terms that value Cox at $34 billion, including debt. The resulting company would be the nation's biggest cable TV and broadband provider by subscribers, overtaking Comcast. The merger comes at increasingly tenuous moments for traditional cable companies as wireless providers such as AT&T and streamers disrupt their business. I don't. We have in Austin, we have Spectrum, I think. That's where I see all the ads. My wife and I canceled our cable subscription almost 21 years ago. I know that because I have a daughter who's about to turn 21 in a few weeks, and we, right shortly after her birth, decided we were gonna cut the cord, cut the cable cord, and we have not looked back. Generally speaking, not a big fan of big mergers. Don't think they're good. They're good certainly for business. They're not good for the consumer. They're not good for innovation. Not a big fan. It's probably not a coincidence that they are doing it now as opposed to a year ago, because the Biden administration probably wouldn't have been nearly as friendly. So this is the current administration, but we'll see. Again, it doesn't directly affect me, but yeah, not a fan. Not a fan. What do we got here? Walmart to hike prices imminently. Walmart's e-commerce business model notched its first profitable quarter during the first 3 months of 2025, the company revealed Thursday in its latest financial report. The online sales growth helped the discount store beat Wall Street's earning estimates, forecast sales growth of 3 to 4% for the year. despite a wider retail slowdown. But the news wasn't all good. Executives warned of looming tariff-induced price hikes, likely towards the end of the month, and certainly much more in June, said their CFO. Our results this quarter are quite direct reflection of your hard work, says the president and CEO of Walmart. Associates Week is around the corner, and I'm looking forward to it. It's my favorite time of the year. Hey, Doug. Look at you, Doug. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, there was disruption in the chain, and we still have in the distribution chain, and they still have 30% tariffs on Chinese goods. So that's definitely going to affect prices. No way around that. Let's see. Entry-level workers feel overlooked. Entry-level workers believe they have more to offer on the job. The majority of Gen Z professionals who are most likely to be entry-level say they have a wide range of skills and are being underutilized in their current role, according to LinkedIn's latest workforce confidence survey. The catch, their bosses don't necessarily agree. Just 1/3 of executives say their entry-level employees have a broad range of skills that are not fully utilized. So 1/3. I think the numbers might be different if they sliced it up by the size of the company. And maybe their survey does do that. But, in a small and medium-sized business, generally speaking, they want to get the most out of their employees. And a medium to large-sized business, they built a machine that makes money. Occasionally, a part falls out of the machine. They need to get a new part, and they look for somebody to fill that position, right? They've got a formula that prints money, and they don't want to mess with the formula, generally speaking. This has always been something in business in corporate America, but we as employees recognize that as developers long ago, that we're more likely to get raises, promotions if we leave the company and go somewhere else than if we stay in a company, right? They hire you, and they want you to do the job that you were hired for, and they want you to be more efficient in that job. They want you to take on more responsibility in that job sometimes in terms of the but they want you to be right there in that position, right? Because again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. That is, just common sense. You can see their point of view when you think about it in those ways. But again, they figured out product market fit. They understand their distribution and their business model, and they're making money. And again, once you find yourself, it's so hard to get in that position. It's so hard to create a new product or service and put it out in the marketplace and find an audience who will, turn it into a profitable company. That is such a difficult task that once you've cracked that nut, you don't want to mess with it. I mean, this is why large companies like Kodak end up mostly going out of business. It's because, there's a new thing on the horizon, and they're fearful of change. So cuts both ways. So I would say to those entry-level Gen Z professionals, if you're really not satisfied, go get yourself another job. Level up. Find there's greener grass on the other side. Just look over that fence. Go get yourself another job. And also, depending on the kind of job, like us in the tech world and the creative world, our portfolio is kind of more important. And I work for Dell for 2.5 years. And after a year, everything that I would be putting in my portfolio looked exactly the same. Like there was no variety to it. You spend 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I didn't spend that much time at Dell. I was just there 2.5 years. But if you spent 10 years and then you found yourself laid off or uh, looking for another job, your portfolio doesn't look so good. You know, it all kind of looks the same, and or it looks all very outdated. Right. So if you're a designer, if you're a creative, if you're a writer, if you're a UX person, if you're a developer, um, if you want to keep that portfolio fresh and looking current, you're either building lots of side projects, working on lots of outside projects that are kind of interesting, which I always encourage, or you are hopping around a bit, playing the field, playing the field. A lot of that is just personality. I jumped from job to job every few years throughout my whole career. I got bored easily. When I stopped learning, when I felt like I wasn't challenging myself, it was kind of time to move on. Trying to find better developers to work with so I can learn new things, play with different stacks, all that stuff. My brother also works in tech. He spent more than a decade working for Microsoft. Like that would have been the death of me. But he was fine in that gilded cage. I'm sure he didn't think of it that way, but I certainly did. Like you know, a lot of it's just your point of view. He dove into becoming an expertise in that role, developing that expertise. All right. What else have we got? United Healthcare investigated by the Department of Justice for possible criminal medical fraud. Possible. The allegations are said to relate to its Medicare Advantage business practices. Shares in the healthcare giant tumbled on the news while Medicare Advantage costs have dogged most health insurance insurers. United Health faces unique problems related to its aggressive growth. The company's recent move to reinstate former CEO may reflect the specificity of those challenges. They've had a rough run, to say the least. But something within my lifetime, the last 20 years, all insurers figured out something. I don't know who did it first, but they were like, we have a business model where we take people's money and then something happens to them and we need to pay out some of that money. And usually things don't happen to them. So we get to keep most of that money, which is a very profitable business. But what if we didn't pay out some of that money? What if when they said, hey, here's a bill, we say, I don't think that's allowed, and we don't pay the money? We get to keep more of the money. Ooh, I like this. This is really good. I like this idea. We get to keep all the money and we don't pay out any of the money. We just take the money. That seems like a good business model. And I don't care if it's your car insurance or your dental insurance or your home insurance. There are bad actors throughout those industries, that industry, that's just their model. They write these, 700-page agreements that you have to sign with all these reasons why they won't pay for the services that you're going to be putting in a request for. And there you go. There you go. I don't know. I had to deal with some car insurance stuff this week. So annoying. My car insurance is going up $150 a month. A month. Yeah. Frustrating. Let's see what's next. Amazon continues its small layoffs. Amazon sliced about 100 jobs from its unit overseeing development of the Alexa voice assistant and other devices. The move comes amid an effort by the e-commerce giant to eliminate managerial layers and follows a reboot of Alexa to make it more conversational with the infusion of generative artificial intelligence. The company has laid off a total of 27,000 employees since 2022, with cuts slowing more recently. Other big tech companies, including LinkedIn, parent Microsoft, have also reduced their workforces. That's not really news. 100 jobs. You know that. I think it was Microsoft that announced laying off 6,000 people last week or this week. See, sad news for the 100 people impacted, but buried in this news story, Amazon hired 4,000 people between Q4 of last year and Q1 of this year. Don't tell me companies aren't hiring. 90% of posted jobs are fake. Hiring is happening, just not at the pace many job seekers are hoping for. This is the new normal. Yeah. The landscape under our feet in the business world and the tech world is shifting. AI has been a shift. The interest rates have been a shift. Going into a recession, on the edge of recession, that all is a shift. Companies need to make money, so they're going to hire when they lose people. That's just what we want to see is growth. We want to see hiring people that didn't have a role before. We want to see growing those people. More human beings putting their creativity and hard work towards building companies to be larger, not just keeping the status quo. And again, when AI comes in, they'll have to staff up with completely different skill sets. These kind of things happen in tech every 5 years or so, every 7 years. There's a big shift. I've seen it many times in my career. In the last 35 years, I've been watching this stuff. Such is the way the world works. Okay, we done did it. All right, now here comes the broken record part. If you've been on the stream before, if you've been here on a Friday, you know that I say the exact same thing to sign off every Friday. And that is that I will not be here tomorrow. I do not broadcast on the weekends, but I will be up bright and early tomorrow morning. Just the way my world works. I go to sleep, I wake up, and typically way before everybody else in my family on the weekends. And I go and check those job numbers, and I put them in my spreadsheet, and I make that graph grow and change. I do it on Saturday, and I do it on Sunday. And what I see when I do that is there are new job postings on Saturday, new job postings on Sunday. And there are a lot of people who are in the job search who take the weekends off. I'll get to it on Monday. I need to, it's been a rough week. It's tough looking for a job. It's exhausting. I need a couple of days for myself. I need to go get some sun. I need to get out and talk to some friends. I need to go hang with family. I'm just going to take the weekend off. So what does that mean? Well, those jobs that are being posted on Saturday and the jobs that are being posted on Sunday are going to have less people applying for them. So, do you want to be the big fish in the small pond? Or do you want to be the small fish in the big pond, right? This is what we need to do. We need to look for any edge that we can have to get to the top of that stack and get noticed. If a company puts out a job posting and they get 50 responses, 100 responses, 200 responses. If you are number 201, I don't care if you're the perfect person for the role, you're not even going to be seen. They're not going to get to you. They'll find enough potential candidates long before they get to the bottom of the stack. You need to get to the top of the stack, right? You might be even a maybe. You may not be a perfect fit for the job, but if you're at the top of the stack, they just want, a handful that then go like, yes, that's probably good enough. Let's do this. Let's go with this. You want to be in the maybe pile. You don't want to be in the no pile. Or you don't want to be at the bottom of the pile that they never get to, right? You want to be in the maybe pile. So get to the top of the stack. Get up tomorrow. Get a caffeinated beverage. Hit the job board. Get out those applications, especially on Sunday. There's less applications, job postings on Sunday. No doubt about it. But there are new job postings. I see it every Sunday. People are posting jobs Saturday afternoons, Saturday evenings, Sunday mornings. It was on their to-do list of things to do, and it didn't get done on Friday. And they're like, all right, I'll get up and I'll post this job on Saturday, or I'll post this job on Sunday. They completely forgot about it. Oh, tomorrow's Monday. I've got to get this posted. My boss is going to yell at me. So I'm going to get up on Sunday and I'm going to post that job. And you're going to be up on Sunday and you're going to see that job. And you're going to be one of the first people to see that job. And you're going to put your application in for that job. That's the way it's going to work. Because you're the one who is consistently getting up, doing the hard work. You're putting in the extra effort to get the extra reward. That's the way the world works, right? Look at what everybody else is doing and do 10% better and more of that, and chances are you're going to rise above the din, rise above the crowd, and you're going to stand out. You're going to stand out in the crowd. That's what we want to see. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. You and I are going to get up tomorrow. We're not going to see each other, but we're going to do what we have to do, because that's what we do. I will see you guys. Have a great weekend. If you're in Texas, it's a warm one. Whew. Stay in the air conditioning. It certainly is for me. I will